Welcome to another deep dive. Today, we're unearthing some ancient wisdom that feels incredibly relevant to our modern environmental crisis. We're plunging into corruption on Earth, a Qur'anic warning. We'll be exploring how these age-old texts, specifically from the Qur'an and the Sunnah, offer not just warnings, but maybe a profound path forward. Our source for this is the divine balance, nature's harmony through the lens of the Qur'an and the Sunnah. It brings up this really powerful concept, Fasād. Yeah, Fasād. Imagine like one ancient word capturing both environmental collapse and societal breakdown, centuries before we had all the modern data. And it's not just corruption in the way we might usually think of it. It's deeper disorder, decay, stemming from, well, moral disconnection, greed, injustice, even simple neglect. And this whole exploration really kicks off with a core verse, Qur'an Surah Al-Rum 30.41. It says, "Corruption has appeared throughout the land and sea by what the hands of people have earned. So he may let them taste part of what they have done, that perhaps they will return to righteousness." Pretty powerful starting point.
It really is. And what's so striking is that connection you mentioned, this ancient warning about Fasād. It feels incredibly immediate today, doesn't it? When you look at our, unprecedented environmental challenges, climate disruption, biodiversity loss, it's almost like these texts are speaking directly to us now. They aren't just describing a problem, they're issuing this urgent call for reflection and, crucially, for a return to balance.
That's a really important distinction, isn't it? Because we often frame these things, pollution, resource depletion, purely scientifically, data, physical impacts.
Yeah.
But what's fascinating about the Quranic view of Fasād?
Right.
How does it differ? How does it elevate the discussion beyond just the science?
Well, the Qur'an is clear. Fasād isn't just, say, a natural disaster or some unfortunate side effect of progress. It's presented as fundamentally a moral and spiritual failure. A failure that comes from ignoring the divine balance, the mizan that's woven into creation, and then, misusing Allah's creation. Classical scholars like Ibn Kathir, he interpreted that very verse, 30.41, as a warning about both natural disruption, ecological imbalance, essentially, and also wider societal decline.
So the two are linked.
Exactly. And then you have thinkers like Sayyid Qutb, who saw Fasād as this deep collapse of spiritual integrity within humanity. And that internal collapse, he argued, inevitably spills outwards into social injustice and then into ecological decay. More recently, people like Fazl Khalid really stress this point. The Quran holds us spiritually accountable for environmental harm. It's seen as a transgression against the amana, sacred trust God granted us.
That really grounds it, doesn't it? Puts the environmental crisis in a much deeper context than just economics or tech. It's a spiritual issue. And the Quran really hammers this home elsewhere too. Like Surah Al-Qasas 28.77 says, seek the rewards of the hereafter, without forgetting your share of this world. And be good. Do not seek to spread corruption in the land, for Allah certainly does not like the corruptors.
Very direct.
And even more directly, Surah Al-Baqarah 2.205 just states, and Allah does not like corruption. Simple as that. And maybe the starkest warning is in Surah Al-Anfal 8.25. And fear a trial which will not strike only those who have done wrong among you, meaning the consequences can be widespread, and know that Allah is severe in punishment. It's a pretty comprehensive warning.
It leaves little room for doubt about the seriousness.
Okay, so if Fasād is rooted in our conduct, our spiritual state, what specific human actions do the sources point to as the key drivers? What are these hands of people actually earning?
Right. The sources highlight three main areas. First, there's overconsumption, known as israf. This is painted as a major driver. Think about overproduction, consumerism, ignoring limits that just tears through forests, oceans, species.
That constant drive for more.
Exactly. And the Quran warns about it explicitly. Surah Al-Isra 17.2627 says, "Do not waste resources extravagantly. Indeed, the wasteful are brothers of the devils." Strong words.
Very strong.
And Surah Al-A'raf 7.31 adds, "Eat and drink, but do not be excessive. Indeed, he does not like the extravagant." The Prophet's guidance echoed this. Eat and drink, but do not be excessive. Simple, direct. And there's this amazing example of his mindfulness using minimal water for wudu, for ablution, even right by a flowing river. That shows incredible conscious restraint, doesn't it?
Wow, yeah. Even when it seems abundant.
Precisely. The second major cause is neglect and betraying the trust, this concept of khilafah. Humanity was placed on earth as a khalifa, a successor, a steward, a vicegerent. There's that famous passage in Al-Baqarah 2.30 where Allah tells the angels about placing a successor on earth, and they question if this being will cause harm and shed blood.
Right. Wilt thou place therein one who will do harm?
And Allah responds, I know what you know not. This role, Khalifa, it inherently means stewardship, and the Prophet taught each of you is a shepherd and each of you is responsible for his flock. That applies broadly. So, failing to protect water, soil, forests, animals, it's not just carelessness, it's seen as a direct betrayal of that sacred trust given by God.
Okay, so overconsumption, betrayal of trust. What's the third?
The third is injustice, exploitation. Environmental harm so often grows out of unjust systems, unequal power. The Quran commands in Surah Al-Nahl 16.90, indeed, Allah commands justice and excellence. Yet we see environmental injustice everywhere, don't we? Pollution hitting poor communities hardest, land grabs displacing people, unethical resource exploitation for short-term gain, benefiting the few.
Yeah, those connections are undeniable.
And the scholar Al-Ghazali really emphasized justice as the axis of moral order. So environmental injustice isn't just a social problem. It fundamentally ruptures that spiritual contract between creator, human, and the rest of creation.
That framework really does ground our ecological challenges in something profoundly spiritual. Okay, so if those are the roots of Fasād, overconsumption, neglect, injustice, what about the solutions? What does the source material offer as a blueprint? Specifically, how did the Prophet himself model this responsibility, this compassion for the environment? What practical lessons can we take from his life, his seerah?
Yeah, his life, the seerah, offers an incredibly clear blueprint for what we might call ethical ecology. It turns everyday actions into something deeply spiritual. For instance, he explicitly forbade unnecessary tree cutting. Even during warfare, the instruction was clear. Do not cut down fruit-bearing trees.
Even in war. That's remarkable.
It shows profound respect for nature's sustenance, for the future, even in extreme circumstances. Then there's how he praised planting. Think about this teaching. Whoever plants a tree and a bird, person, or animal eats from it, it is counted as a charity for them.
So planting becomes an ongoing act of goodness.
Exactly, a continuous charity. And maybe the most powerful call is, if the hour comes while one of you has a seedling in hand, let him plant it.
Even if it seems like the end of the world.
Yes. It's a call to relentless, hopeful action, an unwavering commitment to life, regardless of the circumstances. He also taught us to value every living creature. Remember the saying, there is a reward for serving any living being. This expands our circle of compassion beyond just humans.
Universal mercy.
Right. And finally, he taught that the earth itself is sacred, a place of worship. A masjid, he said, the earth has been made a place of worship and a means of purification. This elevates environmental care from just being practical to being a form of worship, integrating it right into our spiritual lives.
That really shifts the perspective, moving from just warning to constructive action. Okay, so let's bring this back to us, to you listening. We revisit that hopeful ending of Surah Al-Rum 30.41. That perhaps they will return. What does this return really mean for us today?
That return is, well, it's multi-layered. It's profound. It's a return first to Tawḥīd, recognizing God's unity and the interconnectedness of everything he created, understanding that harming one part affects the whole system.
Seeing the connection.
Exactly. It's also a return to stewardship, really living as caretakers, khalifas, of the earth, not its masters or exploiters. And it's a return to justice and moderation in all our dealings with resources, with other people, with other creatures. You know, the corruption, we see the deforestation, the soil erosion, the plastic in the oceans, acidification, climate chaos. These are all symptoms. This return is the proposed remedy. It's fundamentally a call to mend our relationship with creation, which is ultimately about mending our relationship with the Creator.
That really brings it home. So for you listening, maybe this is a moment for some personal reflection. In what ways has my own lifestyle, maybe unintentionally, contributed to Fasād? Through waste, through neglect, maybe by participating in systems that aren't quite just. And looking forward, what acts of return, acts of tawbah or repentance and turning back can I make personally to help heal the earth and maybe my own soul in the process? How can I embody that spirit of restraint, justice, and care in everyday choices? Starting today, maybe it's reevaluating consumption or supporting ethical businesses or just spending more time connecting with nature right where you are.
Small steps, but with a renewed intention.
Exactly. So, to wrap up this deep dive, we've seen Fasād as this profound Qur'anic concept, linking our inner spiritual state to the outer environmental reality. We've identified key causes: overconsumption, israf, neglect of our trust, khilafa, and injustice as violations of that divine trust. And powerfully, we saw how the Prophet's life modeled restraint, mercy, and a truly sacred regard for all creation. Ultimately, the call is for a return to balance, which requires really a holistic renewal, ethical, spiritual, and ecological.
And maybe a final thought to leave you with. How might really truly recognizing the earth as a sacred trust fundamentally change our approach? Change how we think about every single aspect of consumption, conservation, and community? It's a question worth pondering long after this deep dive ends.